Welcome to the webinar, everybody. Hey, it's Dr. Krista, and you are here for number 3 of our series of webinars on postural neurology and continuing education. So today we are going to be discussing how you can 10x your level of clinical certainty. But before we do, you guys know I like to make sure you can hear me. So do me a favor, type Y in the comment box if you can hear me okay and we're good to go on the audio. Let's just make sure that there's no issues so that we can have a great webinar together today. Also, as you're logging in, I love to know who you are and where you're from. So first, type Y in the comment box. Cool. Thanks, Yvette. Thanks. Yeah, thank you guys. Now let me know where you're from. I like to see where everybody's coming in from. I appreciate you spending your lunch with me if you're in the States, or maybe it's evening time if you're over in Europe, or it's really early in the morning if you're in Australia. So wherever you guys are coming in from, thanks for making the time to be here today. We got Kevin from Chicago, Evelyn from the UK. So I know it's a little bit later in the UK. Gwyneth also in the UK, Mike, South Africa, middle of nowhere, Kevin. Yep, and happy birthday to chiropractic, says Haas. Absolutely, great day today. Laurence, Kevin's in California, Justine in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I had the opportunity of going to Grand Rapids recently. It was very nice. Czech Republic, wonderful. Also another great place. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm going to say Matej from Czech Republic. Let me know if I'm right. Kathy from Perth, Ontario, Canada. Lance from Baltimore. Kevin from Cambridge, Ohio. Oh, Cambridge, Ohio. Laurence from Switzerland. Ross from Australia. Awesome. Again, as you guys are logging in, just let us know who you are, where you're from. And if you want to take the time and give us a shout out on social media, let your friends know and your colleagues and your patients, let them know that you're continuing your education with the American Posture Institute today, that you're the ones that show up. You're the clinical go-to experts. You are the pioneers of postural neurology. Moana from India, hello from India. Hugh from Virginia, hi Hugh. Guys, thanks for joining in. This is excellent. I always love how we have such a diverse group. This is so cool. Sarah Jane from Scotland, Sloan from Calgary, Canada. Yeah, we've got Canada, we've got Scotland, we've got India, we've got Switzerland, we've got Australia, South Africa. This is so cool. You guys have what an awesome group we have. Nancy from St. Charles in Illinois. Very nice. All right, so we are going to get started with information on postural neurology. So if you've been following our previous webinars, you know that in the first webinar, we discussed the neurology controlling the posture system. Now, that's just the fundamental right there. I mean, when you understand the brain, you understand your patients at a whole new level. And then in the second webinar, we were discussing digital dementia. Guys, digital dementia is not coming, it's already here. And I want to help position you ahead of the next healthcare curve, because let's face it, patients nowadays are different than previous patients. If we don't adapt and recognize what's coming, we are going to become obsolete as practitioners. So let's discuss today how we can set you ahead of that healthcare curve, help you stand out within your community with postural neurology. Hi, Sammy. Hi, Abraham, New Jersey. Yvette from Canada. Hi, Yvette. MJ. Hello. Amanda from Iowa. I spent 4 years in Iowa. I went to Davenport for school. Larry from Dallas, Texas. Love Dallas, Texas. Wonderful. All right, let's dive into the material today. Again, as you're logging in, just let us know who you are, where you're from. And if you have any issues throughout the webinar regarding an inability to hear me, or if you need me to repeat something, please just let me know. I want to keep this open as open dialogue. We'll discuss some factors, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. So of course, if you have any questions as we're going, go ahead and jot those down. And today is more about implementation and about how to make you successful with postural neurology. So I want you to be thinking clinically, but I also want you to be thinking from a practice growth perspective of how you can implement this information into your practice to be more successful. So if you have any questions that come up like, oh, I'm wondering if this will work in my practice because of this, go ahead and ask that at the end. We'll make sure we get those questions taken care of for you, okay? Because I think what I want you to see with this webinar is that you can implement postural neurology into any practice worldwide. All right, so let's dive into the material. It's going to be a good one, guys. Okay, here we go. see that and then it's transitioned over and you can still hear me. I appreciate your feedback as we go, guys. It just makes it more simple for me to make sure that we're good on the tech side. Okay, go ahead and type Y in the comment box if you can see the PowerPoint slide. Very good. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, first question of the webinar. Why do patients seek healthcare services? Have you ever asked yourself this? And if you have, do you actually know the answer to it? Because as practitioners, we tend to tell ourselves stories of why we think our patients come in to see us. We tend to come in, we come up with things like, you know, they came to see me because of this advertising that I did, or they came to see me because I'm better than other professionals in my community at this. But what really, from your patient's perspective, drives them into your office? What makes them take action to schedule an appointment, to actually show up for that appointment, and of course, open up their wallets to pay you for your services? The answer is threefold. Patients want to look better, they want to move better, and they want to feel better. Look better, move better, feel better. Research consumer behaviors tell us that patients want one of three things: look better, move better, feel better. This is what is driving them into your practice, into your office. So when it comes to postural neurology, we get very in-depth with neurology, and we get very in-depth with understanding the vestibular system, the pontomedullary reticular formation, the vestibulospinal tract, a lot of big words. For our patients, this isn't the important part. What's very important to your patient is that they're going to look better, they're going to move better, and they're going to feel better. Here's why posture is the answer. Posture is the solution to your patient's problem because posture simultaneously fulfills each one of these healthcare consumer desires. So your patient doesn't need to know all the neurology behind what you do, but what they do need to know is they want to know with certainty that you're going to help them look better, move better, or feel better. And when you can meet patients where they are at and you can provide and deliver results based upon their value system, now you're really in for practice growth. And the cool part about postural neurology is that you will deliver on the goods. This isn't going to be an unbroken promise. With postural neurology, you understand your patients at a whole new level because you understand their brain function in relation to the posture system. So when you make that promise on day one that the patient's going to look better, move better, and feel better, you're going to simultaneously fulfill each of those three healthcare consumer desires, and you're going to deliver on your promise. So in addition to that, patients get posture. You know, I cannot say this enough times of how important this one statement is. Patients get posture. Patients get posture. Truly, if our patients don't understand what it is that we do, then what's going to help them take action? Absolutely nothing. They are sitting around thinking, I want to look better, move better, and feel better. If they don't understand that they can look better, move better, and feel better in your practice, they're not going to take action. But here's the thing, is they get it with posture. So if you market yourself as a posture practitioner, posture professional within your community, you are going to become that go-to expert. Patients get posture. So if you think about this, I mean, we've had this experience ourselves. We've been told to sit up straight since we were little kids, right? You know, mom, dad, grandma, everybody told us to sit up straight. You know, we were at the dinner table and we couldn't have our elbows on the table and we couldn't slouch. We needed to sit up straight, right? Or in class, the teacher wanted us to sit up straight in class. Now, you know, mom, dad, grandma, teacher, they didn't understand the neurology and the physiology behind good posture. But what they did know was this, that posture is 100% fundamental for optimal health and well-being. Mom got it. Mom understood that. And mom instilled that belief system within your patients. Mom did the work for you. So now when patients come into your practice because they want to look better, move better, and feel better, they understand that if you provide the goods when it comes to postural correction, then they're going to achieve that result. And you don't need to change anything about their belief system. Truly, patients get posture. Again, mom told them to sit up straight. Mom told them that they needed good posture to be healthy. So now you're supporting what they already believe to be true. You're supporting what's already in their belief system, making your job extremely simple. And when you can improve doctor to patient communication, you can improve everything in your practice. You can improve compliance, you can improve retention, you can improve referrals, and you can grow your practice. So improve doctor-to-patient communication. Here's the thing with when it comes to healthcare statistics. Across the board regarding healthcare, only 15% of patients understand their doctors. 85% of patients don't understand what their doctor is telling them. 85% of patients are confused when they sit down with their doctor. They're confused. They don't know what to do next. They don't know what you told them. So the patient comes in and they say, hey doc, I want to look better, move better, and feel better. They may not say it in those exact terms, but that's what their belief system says. I want to look better, as in I have a problem that's preventing me from being confident. I want to move better, meaning I want to go out and play sports, but I'm really uncoordinated and I can't. Something's holding me back. Can you help me? I want to feel better. Hey, I've had headaches for the last 10 years and it's affecting my ability to work, and my inability to work is affecting my family life because now I can't pay the bills. So look better, move better, feel better may be communicated in different problem scenarios for each patient, but we know at the core what the patient wants. So when they come in and say, I want to look better, move better, feel better with their story, and if you speak to them in words that they don't understand, you've just lost the patient. They came in for help, but they didn't understand what you told them. In fact, 85% of patients don't understand what you tell them. Imagine what this is doing for your practice. I mean, have you ever sat down with a patient, you really thought that you had a great report of findings, you thought they understood, and maybe they came in for one visit and then you didn't see them after that? They didn't understand you. They wanted to believe in you. They took that step to come into your practice. They took the step to come in and make an appointment and pay for that first visit. They wanted your help. They wanted to believe in you. They wanted you as the solution to their problem. But what happened? You didn't communicate clearly. So when I say patients get posture, I want you to really get this. And I want you to understand what this is going to do for your practice, because if we can position you in the top 15% of healthcare providers who communicate clearly with your patients, imagine if you could swap that statistic in your practice. If you looked at your books right now and just understood that 85% of people probably don't understand you, you can just mark them off as they're not going to commit to care. Now imagine if you could switch that around and swap it, and you could say, okay, 85% more people are going to start understanding me. What would that mean for practice growth in your practice? What would that mean for compliance so that patients actually stay long enough to get good results? What would that mean for referrals? How will that improve your retention? How will this improve your practice overall? In addition to that, this is something I always say, is that all healthcare providers agree that posture is 100% important for optimal health and human performance. All right, so I'm having some feedback from Dale and from Angelo that it's not working. Dale from Singapore. I'm going to ask for more feedback to see if that's just something that one person's experiencing or if everybody cannot hear me. So type Y in the comment box if you can hear me and you can see my PowerPoint slide. Okay, go ahead and type Y in the comment box if you can hear and see. I know a couple of you are having issues, but I want to see if it's just individual internet connection or if it's on my end. Okay, cool. All right, so if anybody's having issues, that might just be on your end, so be sure to check your internet connection. And also, in addition to that, it's always better if you can utilize Chrome, we've found, in terms of watching these videos. Okay, cool. So back to the fact that all healthcare providers agree. So this is a fundamental aspect, because if you want to make sense to your community, then you need to meet the patients where they're at and also connect with healthcare providers in a way that makes sense for cross referrals. You can't expect that somebody's going to refer to you when they don't know what you do. When you speak to them and the patients in terms of posture, everybody's clear. And suddenly you are the solution for taking care of this blue ocean market of patients who strongly desire what you do. A blue ocean market opportunity is right in front of you. I mean, if you were to Google this right now, if you were to Google the amount of your profession within your town, so let's say you're a chiropractor, so you typed in chiropractors in Kansas City, okay, how many results would come up? Versus if you typed in posture experts in Kansas City, how many results would come up? Okay, Or if you're a personal trainer, type in personal trainers in Salt Lake City. How many come up? Versus posture experts in Salt Lake City. How many posture experts are there? You can provide the solution to this blue ocean market when you differentiate yourself in the marketplace. And I think a lot of times that there is almost that objection in our mind, well, if I get too specialized in practice, will I have enough patients? And the answer is absolutely yes. I mean, it is an astounding yes. 90% of the population presents with postural distortion patterns. This is the best time in history to master postural neurology. Hands down, 90% of the population presents with postural distortion patterns, and that is only projected to get worse. From a public health impact perspective, 80% of people are suffering from low back pain. Back pain is the second most common reason to come to the doctor's office, and it's the leading cause of disability and one of the fastest growing conditions. Not to mention the enormous, extremely crazy amount of money that's being spent on musculoskeletal issues. If we can prevent musculoskeletal issues, we can provide so much in terms of quality and quantity of life of our patients. Posture is declining at the speed of technology. Right now is the best time in history to specialize and be the go-to expert within your community. So if posture is declining at the speed of technology, who's going to be the provider of that solution? Who is going to be the provider of education to your community? And I can promise you, I know that we have Sarah Jane, for example, on this webinar. So Sarah, if you can hear me, I want you to just respond in the comment box. So she's recently been doing some posture workshops within her community. So Sarah, you tell me the response when you do a posture workshop to educate your community about posture. I mean, you're filling your practice, and we love seeing that being done in real time. When you speak to patients in words that they understand, they get it. They understand as soon as you point out to them that posture is declining at the speed of technology, suddenly they start seeing it everywhere around them. Suddenly they start realizing that it's not just them, that it's also their children. Suddenly they realize that it's not just their children, it's every other kid in the classroom that their child is sitting next to. Suddenly they become acutely aware of this massive problem that we've never seen in history. Posture is rampantly declining right in front of our face. Now, postural neurology is a solution to 10x your certainty. And here's why. I want to provide you with 4 reasons why now is the best time in history to start studying and understanding postural neurology to differentiate yourself within the marketplace. Now, the first reason is that the brain is the master controller of the body. Reason number 1. And I know you all know this. This is not new information, what I just said, that the brain is the master controller of the body. And a lot of us have even convinced ourselves that we work with the neurology within our practices. If you're anything like me, you graduated school, you learned a lot in neuroanatomy class. I mean, to pass board examinations was crazy, right? You studied like crazy, and then you studied some more. So you thought you knew a lot about neuroanatomy. But then you got out into practice, just like I did, and you just totally lost touch with everything you learned in school because that connection, that bridge was never made of how you take what you learned in neuroanatomy class and apply that to your everyday patients. So instead of really holding on to that knowledge and applying it with your patients, maybe if you're anything like I was, then you kind of fell into this phase where you thought you were working with neurology, but truly you were just working with the musculoskeletal system. So the brain is the master control of the body. This is a phrase that we all 100% know to be true. It's not new information. And yet, how many of us realistically neglect the brain in our practice? How many of us just focus on where the patient says the problem is? The patient comes in and says, I hurt here, and they point to their elbow. So what do? We instantly go to that elbow instead of understanding that pain is in the brain, understanding that unless we control the neurology, controlling that joint, controlling the muscles connected to that joint, controlling the overall extremity, until we correct the aspect in the brain to have better movement of that joint pattern, to have neuroplasticity, to have clear and clarity within the cortical map, until we make those changes in the brain, we'll never fix the elbow. As much as we've tried in the past, unless we understand the connection of the brain to the body, we're missing a huge piece of the puzzle. And here's the reason this is empowering, is because postural neurology is going to fulfill all of those gaps for you. So if you've ever wondered why you weren't getting results with your patients before and you've done everything you learned in school, just remember that everything you learned in school was not bridged together in a way that made sense for the patient that comes in on Monday morning. Postural neurology is about to empower you to finally understand the brain in relation to the posture system. Reason number 2, you're going to 10x your level of certainty with postural neurology, is that digital dementia is not coming, it's already here. Here's what I don't want for you. Here's what worries me. If you don't learn postural neurology, then you could become obsolete in your community. I'm truly worried about that. And I'm more worried about what that means for your community. If you don't step up to be the postural neurology expert, to truly own this information, to really help your patients prevent digital dementia, what does that mean for your community? I mean, truly, it is going to be a community of zombies looking down at their cell phones. We're already halfway there. I mean, truly, patients are already presenting with digital dementia. Disconnected teenagers is a real thing. And truly, it's just, it's a rampant health decline. It is not just the musculoskeletal issue. It's how that affects their physical health, of course, but also their emotional health. I mean, these kids are disconnected. They have anxiety at crazy levels. They have depression more so than ever before. They choose social seclusion. They lack motivation. And then, of course, what it's doing to their physical body in terms of lack of coordination, lack of physical fitness, which we know then leads to chronic diseases later in life. Digital dementia is a serious epidemic that you can position yourself ahead of this healthcare curve. And if you don't, I don't want you to become obsolete, because if you become obsolete, who else can I rely on in your community to continue spreading this information? At the American Posture Institute, we're only, a few people. We can't do it on our own. We truly need you to stay ahead of this healthcare curve and become the go-to expert in your community. Now, the third reason that postural neurology is going to 10x your level of certainty is that you're going to have more tools in your clinical tool belt. So you see all these different tools in this tool belt here in the picture. Now, if you only have one tool, if you're just a hammer in practice, then suddenly every problem's a nail, isn't it? If we only have one skill set, then suddenly we try and group everybody into that skill set. And suddenly we start telling ourselves a story that everybody has the same problem. But really, when we understand postural neurology, we're empowered to have more tools to utilize. We're empowered to look at the patient in a whole new way. So instead of just having a hammer to hit a nail, now suddenly we have a screwdriver, or we have pliers, or tape measures, all these things that I don't actually utilize. I'm not a tool girl, but you guys know what I mean here. In terms of clinical application, instead of just doing joint manipulation, now suddenly we understand when and where to apply that joint manipulation. We understand when, where, and how to give our patients advice about posture habit re-education. We understand when, why, how to do posture rehabilitation at a whole new level that stimulates the motor cortex, the sensory cortex, the mesencephalon, the pontomedullary reticular formation, the vestibular system, the visual system. I mean, truly, when we have that level of clinical certainty and we actually have the knowledge behind it, now not all of our problems, not all of our patients' problems fall within the same category. We have the tools to make the best decisions on behalf of the patient. So expand your clinical tool belt with postural neurology. And reason number 4 that postural neurology is going to 10x your level of certainty is that you're going to start creating clinical predictions based on neuroplasticity principles. What I really want for you is that on day 1, when the patient comes in, you speak to them clearly. I really want that to happen for you, and I know that you can with posture. Number 2, the thing that I want for you is that when you set up a treatment plan, it's not based upon what somebody told you to do before you, right? Some of us, we get out and practice, and I'm guilty of this. This is why I'm saying this, is because this is me that I'm describing here. When I started in practice, I just used to make up treatment plans that the doctor that I did my preceptorship with did. That was how I determined how long patients should stay in my practice. If that describes you, just type me in the comment box. It may not describe every single one of you, but I'm going to tell you what, it definitely described me. I didn't know how long I should see patients for. I didn't know why I should see them that long. I just knew that somebody told me that patients should come in for 24 weeks. So I said, okay, great, you're going to come in for 24 weeks. That was me. That was seriously me in practice. And so maybe that describes some of you. And if it does, I want to say that I'm about to make you look really good. Because with postural neurology, again, back to day one, you're going to communicate effectively. And then on day two, you are going to give your patient a treatment plan that makes sense based upon neuroplasticity. And you're going to objectively measure and deliver on results. How freaking cool is that, honestly? Because I know when I was giving those bogus treatment plans, when I didn't know why I was saying how long to come in, I just did what I was told to do. I never knew if they would get better at the end of it, right? I never knew if they would stay, and I never knew once they got out of pain how to keep them there. It was like I was constantly fighting myself to get good results. Postural neurology is going to show you how to set up treatment plans based upon neuroplasticity. You're going to objectively measure the patient on day one. You're going to take a posture image and you're going to perform the brain-based posture analysis. And then let's say 6 weeks later, it's not going to be the same for everybody, but approximately 6 weeks later, you're going to do a follow-up reevaluation. You're going to do the same posture image. You're going to do the same brain-based posture analysis. And then you're going to compare their level of neural capacity. So on day one, you gave them a score. This is your neural capacity on day one. And then when you do the follow-up reevaluation, you compare their neural capacity 6 weeks later compared to day one, and you show them that improvement. And you know, now you have objective feedback of how they've improved, and they can see it in their posture image and their neural capacity score. And then let's say another 6 weeks later at 12 weeks, you then do a final reexamination, and then you watch their neural capacity increase from day one, first reevaluation, to the second reevaluation. You monitor their posture progression with posture imaging. And suddenly, what you've just done is you have transformed their neurology. You have gotten physical results of their posture system because now their brain is functioning at a more optimal level. And the really cool part is that you predicted all of this on day one. You're not surprised it happened. You know, a lot of people out there talk about these clinical miracles that they get. Oh, the patient came in with vertigo and it was a miracle that they got better. I don't work on miracles. I'm not willing to bet on a miracle. Expected outcomes is what we go for with postural neurology. And I want to give you the tools necessary to have those predictable outcomes, to make predictions based upon neuroplasticity, and then to deliver on the goods. It's one thing to come up with a treatment plan and to say it and present it clearly, but it's another thing to deliver on that promise and to truly transform the life of your patients. I really want this for you. I know how it feels. Like, I know some of you guys have typed in there, saying, yes, that describes me. I was there too. I was just making treatment plans based off of nothing. I want to provide you with the tools that you need to be successful. So let's just go through this one more time. 4 reasons that postural neurology is going to 10x your level of clinical certainty. 1, the brain is the master controller of the body. If you're anything like me again, then you didn't make that connection between what you learned in neuroanatomy and how to apply that to your patients. My promise to you is that we are going to make those connections and bridge that gap with postural neurology. Number 2, digital dementia is not coming, it's already here. I don't want you to become obsolete. I want you ahead of the next healthcare curve. I want you as the go-to expert within your community. And please help me here because I'm doing everything I can to educate people to then educate their communities about digital dementia, but we can't do it alone. We truly need you on this one. So if you're with me, go ahead and type me again in the comment box because I want to know that you're with me on the digital dementia thing. And then more tools in your clinical tool belt. So we are going to provide you with more and more solutions so that every time you look at a patient, you're not trying to do the exact same thing with every patient, that you are willing to understand from a whole broad new level and then apply different clinical treatments based upon what that patient needs, not what's convenient for you, the doctor. I love seeing this. You guys, thank you so much for participating and typing that in the comment box. You have no idea how happy that truly makes me with digital dementia because literally, we have got to do this together. And reason number 4 that you're going to 10x your level of clinical certainty is because you are going to make predictions of your patient's treatment plans based upon neuroplasticity, not based upon anything else. And here's the thing, guys, is it's not your fault that you haven't implemented neurology before. I really want to make that clear. It is not your fault. It is your fault. It is not your fault because all of the previous neurology training has failed you in 3 specific ways. It's been too expensive. You've had to travel the globe in order to get this information. It didn't make sense to implement. So you go to these seminars that you pay an arm and a leg for, and then you get home and you learn a ton of knowledge. And while you're sitting in the classroom, you're going, okay, this is really cool. But then you get back on Monday and you go, but I don't ever see that patient, right? They only taught me about the outlier. They never told me about the patient coming in on Monday. So suddenly your books fill up with Samantha and Phil and Bill and David and John, and you're looking at them going, okay, that didn't fit with what they taught me in neurology. So now I'm just going to go back to hammering. I'm going to go back to what I know. So it's not your fault that you haven't implemented neurology. You were never set up for success. School failed you. They gave you a lot of information. They helped you pass tests, but then they never showed you how to apply it. And then you took the leap and you did some more continuing education in it, but they still didn't bridge that together. They gave you a lot of knowledge, but it was just focused on the outlier patient, not the everyday patient. And the third reason is that nobody was focusing on posture. I mean, I know it's so crazy, but postural neurology is absolutely 100% revolutionary because nobody's put the word posture and neurology together. We have got to do this together because our patient's posture is the structural framework of their body, and the neurology controlling that structural framework is their ability to function as human beings. So what does it cost in your practice not understanding neurology? I know for a fact that it cost me a lot of money when I didn't understand neurology because I wasn't certain in what I was doing. And when I wasn't certain in what I was doing, I didn't know how to communicate to my patients in a way that would keep them there, that would increase referrals, that would increase retention, and that would truly provide them with solutions. If they did stay for 12 weeks, I wasn't sure if I was going to get them better. So ask yourself, what is it costing your practice? And worse, what is it costing the patient? Maybe they do make that investment to stay for X amount of weeks, but you didn't deliver on that promise that you had. So with this, what is it costing your practice not understanding neurology? And when you see this picture, so you can see here the kyphotic curve and the forward head posture. When you see this posture, postural neurology should make you go, I am so excited. You should feel that certainty in your heart and in your mind when you see this posture. When you see this posture, I literally want you to jump for joy because I want you to think, I can help that person. And when I help that person reverse that postural hyperkyphosis and that forward head posture, here's what that means for this patient. It means that they're going to breathe better. It means that they are going to live longer. We're going to prevent them from having early mortality. This is a male here. That means that if he did not get this posture corrected, he would be 64% more likely to die of a heart attack. I am going to reverse that for him. I'm going to help him prevent asthma. I am going to prevent him from having depression, which then leads to anxiety and social seclusion. I am going to help him prevent ADHD if it's a child. I'm going to help them live better. I'm going to help them look better, move better, and feel better. When you see this posture, I really want you to think that. I want you to go, okay, great. That patient has forward head posture and postural hyperkyphosis. I know with certainty I can reverse that. And what that means is you are going to prevent depression. You're going to prevent heart attacks, early mortality, sitting disease, all of these things associated with poor posture. So please feel empowered when you see your patients. Postural neurology really is the answer. It is a solution to provide you with more clinical certainty in practice. And again, when you have that certainty and you have the know-how, so it's one thing to have certainty, but then to have the knowledge backing it up. And when you can communicate to patients in words that they understand, now suddenly you are set up for success so much more than you ever were in the past. My promise to you with postural neurology is that we will bridge together those gaps, leaving you wondering why you weren't getting results before in practice. We're going to bridge together what you've learned, what you spend a lot of time studying, and then how to apply that to your patients. With postural neurology, I promise that you are going to have more certainty. I promise that you are going to know how to set up your treatment plans so that you can make neuroplastic changes in the posture system. I promise to give you the information that you need to stay ahead of the healthcare curve for digital dementia. And I promise that you will be well equipped to take care of your patients at a higher level. It is always about the patient in the end. This is about humanity. This is about changing the lives of our patients within our community. I want to rely on you. I want to know that we're going to hang up from this webinar and you are going to make a greater difference in your practice this afternoon. If you're in the US right now listening in, this afternoon practice. If you're in Australia, today in practice. And if you're in Europe, tomorrow in practice. I really want to know that you have this certainty to move forward in a way that makes sense for your community and is going to help them thrive within their environment. So with that, let's talk about how you can implement postural neurology into your Cool. I'm going to give it a second to catch up because I know there's a lag sometimes. Okay, let's let it catch up. Okay. How can you implement postural neurology into your practice? Here goes. So there's 3 options. 1, you can implement postural neurology with a rehabilitation room. So if you have this space in your practice, then you can set up a whole postural neurology rehabilitation center in the sense that you have all the bells and whistles. And when I say bells and whistles, I don't want you to think that you need crazy expensive equipment, but you could utilize multiple different things, okay? Some balance boards, some wobble cushions, some posture cushions, some exercise balls, cervical traction, vibration plates, you name it. You can have all of that. So if you have the space in your practice, implementation strategy number 1 is to start implementing with these items. Implementation strategy number 2 is that you have a room and your patient actually teaches your patients, your assistant teaches your patients how to perform the exercises. So with the strategy number 1, you yourself, you treat the patient, plus you show them how to do the rehabilitation. With option number 2, you're going to treat the patient and your assistant is going to show them how to perform the exercises. For me, that's the best solution. That's what we've always done. And then number 3 is if you don't have the staff to take care of your patients, and if you don't have the room, have your patients do postural rehabilitation completely at home. So we have set up postural neurology in a way that you can implement it into any practice, regardless of the physical size of your practice, regardless of how many staff members that you have for support, and regardless of how much time you spend per patient. Some of you want to spend a half an hour to an hour with your patient. Some of you want to spend 5 minutes. So wherever you are on that spectrum, I want you to know there's solutions of postural neurology that are going to fit with that. We're never going to say you need to do A, B, C, and D exactly precisely. What we're going to do is provide you with a ton of solutions and a ton of analyses, so analyses and corrections, and say you pick what's going to work the best for your practice and for your patients, specific to the patients that you're seeing. So just know with postural neurology that you truly can implement it within any practice worldwide. All right, guys, we are going to wrap up right there. I want to know how you're feeling certainty-wise. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comment box now. So at this moment, what I want you to think about is from your practice perspective. Maybe you're an associate and you're thinking, okay, I really am empowered to do postural neurology, but I don't know how I'm going to implement it because I don't own my own practice. Or maybe you're thinking, okay, I really want to do this. Is she actually being honest with me? Is she going to deliver on her promise of everything that neurology provides? Postural neurology provides. And if you have any questions of, okay, I've tried this before, but it didn't seem to work, how can I implement something new? Let me know. I want to be sure to address those questions here. And I also want to invite you guys to more education. So at the American Posture Institute, we give a ton away for free. And the reason we do this is truly because we want to up-level the amount of education that professionals worldwide have regarding posture, because it's really lacking in other areas and we didn't get it when we started out in practice. So what I want to invite you to do is we have a 4-part postural neurology training series that's coming out. Technically it comes out on Wednesday, but because you guys are here live, I want to give you first dibs on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link here in the comment box. This is for a free training, 4-part video training series. So I'm going to post that here. So what you're going to learn in this 4-part training series is you're going to learn the 3 flaws of previous neurology systems, what's been preventing you from implementing neurology before. And then you're going to learn eye, spine, vestibular. So you'll learn more analyses and corrections that you can implement right away with your patients. And then number 3, you're going to learn the neuroscan. The neuroscan is how to analyze brain function in relation to the posture system in 3 minutes or less. You guys are going to absolutely love it. All of that is completely for free with the link that I just posted. MJ says, how many seminars to learn? That's a really cool part, is that you don't need to travel the entire world, and you don't need to attend 20 different seminars. Everything's together in one online course. But here's the thing, is that you guys are healthcare professionals, so I never want you to just trust me 100%. If we trusted everybody who gave us promises, then we've probably been burned in the past, right? That's why we do free training. I really want you to do this free training, and I want you to try the stuff that I tell you to try. And I want you to see for yourself if it works. And if it does, I want you to trust me that you should then commit to learning postural neurology, and you should then do the online certification course. If it doesn't work for you, no problem. But if it does, just imagine what it can do for your practice to learn more, what it can do for your practice to finally understand the brain, and what it can do to your practice to really implement postural neurology. All right, so Evelyn says, okay, Sarah Jane, I'm doing them myself. I'm fully booked, so need to look at my clients and will be happy the assistant is doing the rehab. So yes, I mentioned Sarah as an incredible example. She's been posting in our members only Facebook group saying, I just sold 40 posture exams and then 60 posture exams. I mean, it is awesome. So incredible. I love that for two reasons. I love knowing that Sarah is successful business-wise. I love that because when she's successful, then she can help more people. But what I love, in addition to that, I mean, we all want to make money. We all want to thrive in practice. But what that means for those people she's seeing, that is just really that's my why. That's why I'm standing here doing a webinar right now. Not because I like to hear myself talk, not because anything else, not because I have just a ton of extra time. The reason I'm doing this webinar is because when I hear back from people like Sarah Jane that are saying, I just booked 60 posture examinations, that's what gets me going. That is my why, because I know what that means for those patients. I know that she is armed and ready to take great care of them. All right, Larry says, what's the best way for a personal trainer to implement this into your practice? So fantastic question, personal trainers. So you're doing exercise, which is absolutely perfect. So whether you can or can't, depending upon where you are in the world or what state you're in, you can do mobilization. So with mobilization, it could be active or passive, right? So you identify the origin of distortion within the brain, what's causing that postural distortion pattern. And then you're going to target certain areas of the body to stimulate those parts of the brain. So when it comes to stimulation, there's manipulation, there's movement, and there's stimulation. So manipulation is going to be physical movement of the joint space. I'm not sure if you can do that, but what you can do is mobilize. And with mobilization, you can do active or passive. So you can move the joint for the patient, or you can give them specific exercises to move the joint in that specific direction on that side of the body to stimulate a certain part of the brain. In addition to that stimulation, so vibration therapy, posture taping, light and skin stimulation, massage, all of these things are stimulation. So you can choose from this buffet of different clinical options that you can implement as a personal trainer. Love that question. Neuromuscular reeducation, very nice, okay. Manual therapist, wonderful. Very easy to implement. Thank you for mentioning that. Happy to Larry, you can use PNF. Yes, for sure. All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up there with the webinar today. I just want you to know that I believe in you. I believe in your ability to help patients at a whole new level. I believe in your ability to have this high level of clinical certainty. We are here to provide you with more education ongoing. At the American Posture Institute, we live by the motto that your success is our priority, which is why we put together a 4-part free training series. Again, in video number 1, you're going to understand the flaws with previous neurology systems. It's not your fault. I'm the first person to say it's not your fault you haven't implemented postural neurology before. It didn't exist, and previous neurology systems failed you. We are here to provide you with solutions. In fact, video number 2 is all about those solutions, eye, spine, vestibular. Implement it right away. Don't take my word for it. Please try this stuff in practice and see how it goes. And then video number 3 is the neuroscan, how to analyze brain function in relation to the posture system in 3 minutes or less. Everybody has 3 minutes. I know you do. So be sure to tune into the 4-part free training series. Again, the link is posted here. This is your opportunity to learn more about postural neurology, start implementing it right away with your patients in order to make a bigger difference in the world. Again, 4 reasons you're going to 10x your level of certainty with postural neurology. The brain is master controller center of the body. we can't ignore it. If we do ignore it, we really cannot expect that we're going to get predictable results. We just can't. It doesn't even make sense. Number 2 is I don't want you to be obsolete. Digital dementia is not coming. It's already here. Let's position you ahead of that healthcare curve. Number 3, let's increase the amount of tools within your clinical tool belt. If we just have one tool, suddenly everybody falls within that category. Let's do what's best for the patient and have more tools to expand our opportunity to take better care of our patients. And of course, number 4 is you're going to learn how to make treatment plans based upon neuroplasticity, not based upon what's convenient for us. It's all about the patient. It's all about increasing your certainty. It's all about postural neurology. Make it a great day, and remember, it's posture by design and not by circumstance.